Well, hello, Ed Meiering. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Joe. How are you?
Good. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me today about our workshop that we partnered on called the Power of Persuasion. But before we get into that, perhaps you could tell our audience what your role was and what industry you have worked in for the last number of years.
Okay, well, I've been in the general insurance industry for over 30 years now. And I worked as a broker when I was in my 20s. I worked at economical insurance in various roles in my 30s. And then in my 40s was mostly dominated by Aviva. And I was the VP for business development in Ontario. And then in my 50s, I've been an insurance broker again. So I was the CEO of McConville Omni Insurance Brokerage, which is a regional brokerage in London, Ontario. Yeah, that was my history.
Wow, that's great. So what we're talking about today, as I mentioned earlier, is about a partnering that we did with McConville Omni. iC3 partnered with you and your group, and we conducted a workshop called The Power of Persuasion. So what issue were you facing at McConville Omni that created this interest in this workshop with iC3?
Right. Great question, because I know when I initially got interested in trying to do something, it was because I just got this sense that during COVID that people were becoming more and more isolated. And in particular, people from different areas of the organization would never have a chance to bump into each other and just have a conversation. And so that was one thing. I was getting really, really tired of the Zoom meetings that tried to be, the happy hour or all these various ways we were trying to get people to get together, but they always lacked something because there was nothing, real that people were tackling together. And so I really wanted to find some universal kind of learning opportunity, because I thought if we can get people together, but then also learn something really interesting that's really universal, I thought that would be really, really something that could work to bring people together again. And then I thought back in the archives, Joe, because I saw you speak a couple of years back at a CEO strategy session. And you talked about the concept of reciprocity in sales, and I thought, that could really be it. So that's when I talked to you, and I wanted to explore more and figure out also how can we develop this for an online world and a video conferencing world. So that's where the conversation started.
That is true. This was something that we virtualized for McConville Omni. So this particular event called the Power of Persuasion was given to your entire staff, frontline, sales, admin, and so on. How beneficial was that to you and your organization? Could you comment on that?
Yeah. So some of the benefits, the first one was I tried to kind of cover a culture void, like in terms of having something real to talk about, universal to talk about as for something to get together on. And boy, it worked. Like even how the whole thing was structured in terms of, unstructured breakout groups for the people that are in reception, along with the manager of the commercial division. Like, so that was really great. Anybody could talk about this stuff. So it covered off that kind of culture item that I really needed. But then what it also did, and it really, really resonated with people, because they started to see how they could be more persuasive with their spouse or with their kids or with their grandparents. And but then they also then went into their huddles in their team meetings, and they came up with ways that they wanted to use it. And there were two that I'd love to share.
Yes, please.
The first one was a CSR group in personal lines. And I don't know of any personal lines CSR that hasn't been asked by management, can you please try to cross-sell property for all these monoline auto customers we have? Mm-hmm. And so what they came up with as a result of the training was, instead of asking for the property when they have the car insurance, they basically said, did you know that we have 20,000 customers that are enjoying bundling benefits? Would you like to enjoy bundling benefits as well? And that was just a completely different way to draw people in. And so that really worked. And it actually got an uptick in how many cross sells we had. I think the following month after we did this, we got 27 extra cross sell opportunities.
Wow, that's great.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And then the other opportunity that we had, or that came up with, was in the reception area. In reception, they decided to use the kind of the warming of the lead when they pass it off. So instead of just saying, "Oh, you're looking for new business, I'll pass you to Joe." They would say things like, they changed it to be, "Oh, you're looking for new business, I'd like to pass you to Joe. She's been doing new business for over 10 years now, and she's tremendous." And then pass you to Joe. And it just warmed up the person and put them in a different frame of mind for when, all the questions start happening when you want to try to talk to a new business prospect.
Yeah, it's very influential, those few things that you had mentioned. Simple, and some people think they mistake simple for being ineffective. And that certainly isn't the way when you're engaging these 6 principles. So just to wrap up, could you comment on some final results that you were able to realize within your organization based on the learnings through the power of persuasion? You've mentioned a couple. Is there any other things that you would like to comment on before we wrap up today?
I think the main thing for me, Joe, was I was really needed something that people could learn together in order to improve the culture. And this delivered that because it was so universal. The other great thing is, who doesn't want to be more persuasive with just about anybody? And it delivered that too, but also specifically for some business value. To me, I went looking for a culture kind of win, and I wound up with real tangible results in terms of how people did cross-sell. So to me, this was a big win.
Well, great. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it.
You do the same for me, Joe.
It's true. Bye.
Bye-bye.